There's a moment in every relationship when silence says everything, and often that silence comes in the form of a hug, not a routine gesture, not just arms around a body, but something far deeper. A hug is a language most men were never taught to read. It's not just touch, it's transmission of presence, emotion, attention, and unspoken truths. Most men don't even realize they're missing it. They hug too quickly, too casually, or with the kind of tension that comes from trying to impress, and without knowing it. They let powerful emotional moments slip away, moments where she could have felt something unforgettable. But what if you could change that? What if your hug could do more than express affection? What if it could leave a mark on her mind? Make her feel safe, desired, and deeply seen, all without a single word? What if, in just a few seconds, she felt a shift not just in her body, but in her nervous system? The truth is, you don't need force. You don't need performance. You need awareness, the kind of calm, present energy that turns a simple embrace into an emotional imprint she won't be able to shake. This isn't about trying harder, it's about feeling deeper. And once you understand how to do that, she'll feel it too, every time. Number 1, the silent language of a hug, when presence speaks louder than words. When two bodies come together in silence, something ancient awakens. A real hug isn't just skin against skin, it's a conversation of energies, a dialogue without words, a bridge between inner worlds. We often think of touch as something casual, passive, or automatic, but the truth is a well-timed, conscious hug can say more than an entire conversation. It can whisper, "You're safe, you're seen, you matter," all without the mouth ever moving. And if you're a man seeking not surface attraction but soul-level resonance, mastering this moment means more than charm. It means presence. In Stoic philosophy, presence is power. It's the ability to stay fully grounded in the moment without being pulled by fear, desire, or distraction. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Be one." He meant, don't fragment your mind, your intentions, your energy. Be whole in everything you do, including when you hug, especially when you hug, because in that moment, your nervous system speaks directly to hers. Women are exquisitely sensitive to the tone behind your touch. They feel if your energy is restless or still, if your heart is open or guarded. A rushed hug says, "I want this over with." A mechanical one says, "I'm not here." But a grounded, warm, conscious embrace says something else entirely. It says, "I've arrived, and so have you." Picture this. You're meeting a woman you care about. Instead of leaning in for a quick squeeze like most men, you breathe, you feel your feet. You wrap your arms around her slowly, intentionally, not with aggression, not with awkwardness, but with silent confidence. You hold not to possess, but to offer calm. You don't pull away first. You let her feel the pace of your breath, the weight of your stillness. You're not performing, you're present. And in that silence, she lets go of her day, of her armor. She may not say anything, but inside, something opens. This is not about physicality, it's about emotional safety. A good hug tells a woman, "You don't need to protect yourself right now. I've got you," Seneca said. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality. A good hug dissolves imagination. It breaks the spinning of the mind and reminds the body, you are here, and you are not alone. From a psychological perspective, a long, calm embrace releases oxytocin, the hormone of bonding and trust. But what amplifies its power isn't just biology, it's intentionality. When a man brings his full emotional awareness into a hug, he transmits a deeper message. This isn't about seduction, this is about soul. It's not about how long you hold, it's about how deeply you feel while doing it. Jung would interpret this as an archetypal moment when two unconscious energies recognize each other through physical stillness. You're not just hugging a woman, you're opening a portal to emotional intimacy. And she senses it. She may smile, she may soften, or she may become quiet because that's what safety does. It calms the storm inside. And this is where most men fail. They talk too much, move too quickly, think the right words will impress her, but you let your presence do the talking. A woman never forgets the man who made her feel understood without needing to be explained. And the hug is where that memory begins. Here's a quiet truth. A woman may not remember what you wore, what you said, or even what you looked like. But she will remember how your hug made her feel, whether she felt tension or peace, whether she felt you were somewhere else or completely there. That's the power of subtle masculinity, not in domination, not in display, but in emotional stillness so deep it ripples through her body long after you've let go. So the next time you embrace someone, do it like a man who knows silence is a language. Breathe, slow down, let your body say, this moment matters. Don't chase a reaction, don't perform, just offer your calm and watch what opens in return. Now speak out and comment below. I don't rush connection, I create presence. Number 2, reading the unspoken. How each type of hug reveals her emotional truth. Not all hugs are created equal. Some are polite, some are playful, some are deeply emotional. And if you pay close attention, not with your eyes, but with your emotional presence, you'll realize that every hug a woman gives you carries a hidden message. It's not about what she says before or after, it's about how she holds you, where her weight leans, how long she stays, whether her hand lingers or releases fast. Each gesture is a thread of psychological and emotional data. And for the Stoic man who trains himself to feel without overreacting, those details are golden, because connection isn't built through guessing, it's built through emotional accuracy. Let's start with the first type, the friendly pat. This is the classic, socially acceptable hug brief. Light, sometimes with a few pats on the back. It's a safe zone embrace that often signals boundaries. She may like you, respect you, or simply not know you well enough yet. Most men feel rejected by this kind of hug. They pull away fast, feel disappointed, or worse, try to overcompensate. But a Stoic man, he reads the moment with calm. He doesn't react with ego. Instead, he holds just 1 second longer than expected, not to force intimacy, but to say, I'm not rushing this, I'm here. Then, he watches her body language. Does she smile? Look back, tilt her head toward him slightly. That 1 second might be the opening, or it might be the message. Either way, he remains composed, because as Epictetus taught, it's not things that disturb us, but our opinion about them. Then comes the comfortable hug. This one lasts longer. There's a sense of warmth, maybe even familiarity, but it's not quite intimate, it's relaxed, friendly, safe. Her body leans into yours a little more, but not fully. Her arms might wrap around you with a bit more pressure. This is not romance yet, it's rapport, connection. If she starts to loosen her grip and you release too soon, you signal detachment. But if you maintain the embrace just slightly longer, while keeping your breath calm and your body grounded, you signal presence. You tell her, without saying a word, I notice this, I'm not afraid to feel it. And that is deeply attractive, not flashy, not forceful, just stable, like a mountain holding space for the wind. Marcus Aurelius would approve. Now, let's move to something deeper, the lingering hug. This is where time slows down. Her arms stay around you longer than expected. Her body softens. There's a pause before release. She's not just saying hello or goodbye. She's saying, this feels safe. This feels good. Stay. Many men rush to release at this point, either from nerves or fear of appearing too eager. But the Stoic man doesn't retreat from closeness. He responds. He mirrors. Maybe he places a hand lightly on her back or simply breathes deeper, holding space without escalation. He allows the hug to complete itself without pushing, clinging, or overthinking. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." And this is bravery, not charging into a battlefield, but standing still in an intimate moment without needing to control it. Let her linger. Let her decide when to release. And when she does, don't jump back. Look into her eyes. offer a subtle smile, and let the silence speak. Finally, the rarest of all, the intimate hug. This is where she leans in completely. Her head might rest against your neck or chest. Her arms tighten, her breath slows. This is not a hug of politeness, it's surrender, emotional vulnerability. She's allowing herself to be held, truly held. And this is the moment where many men falter, either by getting overly excited or becoming afraid of the emotional responsibility. But you stay. You let your body become still and strong. Like a quiet anchor, you breathe calmly into her energy, not trying to decode it, not rushing to turn it into anything, just being there, present, open, alive. And when the time comes to release, you do so with gentle certainty, keeping eye contact, maybe brushing your hand lightly along her arm. No words needed, no performance, just the quiet signal. I received you. I honored that. What all of this requires above any technique is emotional presence, the ability to feel what's real without demanding more than what's offered. Stoicism isn't about being emotionally numb. It's about having the strength to stay still when others would rush, and that includes your responses to affection, to connection, to intimacy. Every hug is a test not of her, but of you, of your patience, your presence, your willingness to connect without needing control. And in mastering that, you become the kind of man she thinks about long after you've left the room. Now, speak out and comment below. I don't judge the moment, I listen to it. Number 3, the emotion behind the embrace. Why mastering your inner world changes everything. Before your arms ever reach out, before her body leans in, before one breath is shared between two chests, your energy has already spoken. A hug, no matter how gentle or firm, carries your emotional signature. If your body is calm but your mind is racing, she'll feel it. If your posture is perfect but your heart is guarded, she'll sense the distance. And if you hug with the right form but the wrong energy, distracted, anxious, unsure, it won't matter how well you followed the technique. Because true connection doesn't come from muscle memory, it comes from emotional mastery. Stoicism is not about suppressing emotion, it's about understanding it, taming it, using it as fuel for right action. Seneca said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." That includes emotional adversity, the inner discomfort we feel when facing intimacy, the vulnerability of closeness, the quiet fear of being seen and maybe not being enough. But this is where the Stoic man rises, not by becoming cold, but by becoming centered. When you master your inner weather, your presence becomes safe, and a safe man is unforgettable in a world full of performers. Let's say you're about to hug a woman you care about. You're nervous. Maybe you fear rejection. Maybe you're overthinking the moment. If you don't regulate that nervousness, she will feel it not through your words, but through the micro-tensions in your arms, your breath, your timing. She might not consciously know why, but something will feel off, and the connection will falter. But if you ground yourself, breathe deeply, feel your feet, enter the hug with calm intention, you're no longer reacting to your emotion, you're directing it. And that subtle shift changes everything. Emotional mastery begins with self-awareness. Before the hug, ask yourself, am I seeking reassurance or offering presence? Am I hugging to be loved or to express calm affection? If you're unsettled, don't fake confidence. Pause, find stillness, because the Stoic doesn't pretend, he prepares. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You may not control how she receives the hug, but you can always control how you enter it. The next layer is awareness of the other. Once the hug begins, tune in not to your thoughts, but to her body language. Does she tense, soften, lean closer, pull slightly away? These are not cues to chase or correct. They're simply data, and your job isn't to manipulate the outcome. It's to honor the moment. If she softens, stay still. If she hesitates, offer calm. Always let your energy say, there is no rush, there is no pressure, only presence. This paradoxically, creates more connection than any forceful display ever could. And finally, intention. Hugging with purpose doesn't mean hugging with an agenda. It means knowing why you're doing it. Maybe it's to offer comfort, maybe it's to express support, maybe it's simply to enjoy the shared warmth of human contact. But whatever the reason, let it be pure, let it be focused, because she can feel the difference between a man who touches her for validation and a man who embraces her as a gift, not a conquest. The latter creates safety, the former leaves confusion. Imagine a moment where you wrap your arms around her, not to impress her, not to escalate, but to say through your stillness, I'm here. You don't need to perform. She may not reply. She may not even fully register what's happening, but something in her nervous system exhales, and long after the moment ends, she'll remember how grounded you felt, not what you said, not how strong your arms were, but how your calm entered her chaos and settled it. That is the power of a Stoic embrace. It doesn't dominate, it doesn't plead. It simply exists unshaken, unhurried, unforgettable. You don't need to speak louder, touch longer, or hold tighter. You just need to own your internal state, and when you do, every hug becomes a message. You are safe, I am whole, and this moment is enough. Now, speak out and comment below. I don't seek to impress, I choose to be present. Number 4, the courage to be felt. Why vulnerability turns a hug into emotional alchemy. Most men think strength is about control, keeping the upper hand, masking emotion, never letting anyone get too close. But true emotional strength isn't the ability to stay guarded. It's the willingness to open the door when it matters most. And a hug, when it's real, is one of those moments. You're not just wrapping your arms around her, you're saying, without speaking, I'm not afraid for you to feel me, not just physically, but energetically, emotionally, spiritually. Vulnerability is a word we're taught to fear. We associate it with weakness, exposure, or risk. But in Stoic philosophy, it's the opposite. Vulnerability is courage in its purest form. Marcus Aurelius didn't hide from the weight of being emperor. He carried it with silence, reflection, and grace. Seneca wrote not to impress the masses, but to reach one soul at a time. That's what a conscious hug is, an unspoken message that you are willing to be known, not as a flawless image, but as a real, breathing man with depth. When a woman gives you an intimate hug, leans fully into you, rests her head against your chest, lets her guard fall, she's not just asking to be held. She's asking, can you meet me here? Can you feel what I feel and still stay steady? And how you respond determines everything. If you pull away too soon, she'll feel the fracture. If you overcompensate, tighten too much, try to lead the moment, you'll interrupt the vulnerability. But if you simply lean in without fear, hold her with intention, and let her feel your stillness, that's when something rare happens. Emotional alchemy. Her softness meets your steadiness. Her openness meets your quiet fire, and in that space, intimacy is born. You don't need to say anything. In fact, words often cheapen the magic. A light squeeze, a calm breath, a hand on her back. Not to control, but to say, I'm not going anywhere. That's what changes her chemistry. That's what makes her think about you later, not because you said the perfect line, but because your energy felt like home. Jung would call this the dissolving of persona, the dropping of masks. You're not the seducer. You're not the stone wall. You're not the performance. You are simply you, unfiltered, yet calm. And this is what most men can't do. They either hide behind bravado or disappear into self-doubt. But you, the Stoic man, stand still, open, present, unmoved by fear, yet not afraid to feel. Let's make this real. You're in the middle of a quiet moment. She leans into you, not with expectation, but with trust. Her weight shifts, her breath slows. She doesn't want words, she wants truth, so you stay. You feel her softness against your chest. You breathe. You place one hand behind her head, gently, not possessively. And in that stillness, your presence says, you're not alone here, and neither am I. That's when intimacy deepens. Not because you did something right, but because you allowed yourself to be seen. And that, more than any technique or tactic, is what women crave: authentic energy, grounded openness, a man who isn't afraid to be felt. So remember, a real hug isn't about getting closer, it's about being known. If you want to create emotional gravity, stop performing, start feeling, and then let her feel you. Now, speak out and comment below. I don't hide behind strength, I lead with truth. Next, ChatGPT Janoi. Number 5. When to let go. The art of ending a hug without breaking the connection. It's easy to start a hug, much harder to end it without damaging the emotional thread that was just woven between two people. The moment of release, so often overlooked, is actually a moment of power, of communication, of decision, because how you let go says just as much as how you held on. Do you pull away too fast? Do you hold on too long? Or do you, like the Stoic man, feel the rhythm of the connection and release with silent wisdom, leaving her not empty, but full? The end of a hug is like the final note of a song. It can linger in her chest, echoing through her thoughts, or it can fall flat and disappear. The Stoic understands timing not as manipulation, but as attunement. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Observe how all things gain and lose form through rhythm. Even in something as simple as an embrace, there is a rhythm, and if you listen not with your ears, but with your emotional awareness, you'll know exactly when to let go." Too often, men get stuck in their heads. They start calculating. Is this too long? Is she feeling awkward? Should I let go now? But those thoughts are noise. They pull you out of presence. And presence is the very thing she was leaning into. Letting go too soon can jolt her. She may interpret it as rejection, disinterest, or anxiety. Letting go too late can feel suffocating, as if you're clinging to something fragile out of fear. But when you release with awareness, reading her breath, the loosening of her arms, the softening of her body, you allow the connection to close itself, like a wave receding into the sea. Imagine this. You're holding her, and you feel her begin to breathe differently, not sharply, not pulling away, but more like an exhale, a subtle signal of completeness. That's your cue, not to retreat, but to end with grace. You loosen slightly, and just before letting go fully, you offer something small, a light brush of the hand, a calm gaze, a soft smile, not to hold on, but to say, "This moment mattered." That finishing touch is what seals the emotional memory, and it lingers longer than any compliment. This is emotional craftsmanship. A Stoic man is not just strong in action, he is subtle in closure. Epictetus taught, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." And in that moment of release, you do exactly that. You don't explain how grounded you are. You show it by letting go without hesitation, without neediness, without performing. You trust that the connection was real and that it doesn't vanish just because your arms did. If she maintains eye contact after the hug, meet it. If she smiles, receive it. If she seems quiet, don't rush to fill the silence. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is let the moment breathe on its own. That's how you become memorable, not through force, but through flow, not by controlling the end, but by honoring it. To be a master of connection, you must also become a master of release. Letting go is not loss, it's trust. It's the belief that what was felt doesn't need to be chased, it already exists. And that's what women respond to most. A man who doesn't grip or beg, but holds and lets go with calm certainty. Now, speak out and comment below. I don't cling, I close moments with presence. Number 6. Becoming the man she feels without words. Mastering the hug as a symbol of Stoic presence. There's a moment, quiet and unassuming, when two people embrace not out of obligation, not out of habit, but out of something deeper. In that stillness, when no one is watching and nothing needs to be said, a man reveals who he truly is, not through status, not through words, but through the quality of his presence. And this is where the hug becomes more than contact. it becomes character, it becomes memory, it becomes meaning. A true hug is not about performance. It is the embodiment of Stoic principles in motion, self-control without tension, emotional depth without chaos, vulnerability without fear. It's a man standing in his energy without needing validation. And when you hug like this, not as a tactic but as a natural extension of who you are, you shift something inside her that no words ever could. You don't just enter her physical space, you enter her emotional awareness. And there, your stillness lingers like a whisper in her nervous system. The man who has mastered the art of the hug isn't a seducer. He's a builder of trust, a cultivator of safety, a steady flame in a world full of sparks and smoke. He doesn't rush. He doesn't overthink. He reads her energy like a poem, not trying to solve it, but to feel it. He lets the hug become whatever it needs to be in that moment: comfort, grounding, intimacy, calm. And when it's time to release, he does so with grace, never rushing, never clinging. That's Stoicism in action, moving with nature, not against it. Think back to all the moments in your life when someone's touch lingered in your memory. It wasn't because they held you tightly, it was because they were there fully, completely, with no other agenda than to connect. That's the level of presence we speak of here, a presence not built in a day, but forged through discipline, through introspection, through emotional training, and through a commitment to living in alignment with what you value, rather than what you want in the moment. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. So don't wait until you're in a relationship. Don't wait until the moment feels right. Start now. Practice presence. Train your awareness. Hug your friends, your family, your future partner with intention, with calm, with the quiet power of a man who has nothing to prove and everything to offer." And when that moment arrives, when she leans in, not because she has to, but because she feels drawn, remember this: your energy speaks before you do. Make sure it says something worth remembering, not through perfection, not through strategy, but through sincerity, through steadiness, through the silent fire of a man who lives what he believes. Because a man who masters the hug doesn't just leave an impression on her skin, he leaves a resonance in her soul, a warmth she remembers when she least expects it, a calm she seeks when the world grows too loud. Now, speak out and comment below. I connect without words, I lead with presence. Mastering the art of the hug isn't just about leaving an impression, it's about becoming the kind of man who feels before he reacts, who shows up not with perfection, but with presence. The kind of man who knows that real connection isn't built through effort, but through emotional awareness. Because once you can hold someone not just in your arms, but in your attention, everything shifts. You don't just become someone she remembers, you become someone she trusts. If this message touched something beyond words, if it echoed somewhere deeper, stay close. Your thoughts matter, your questions matter, so leave a comment. Even just a few honest words, it grounds the insight, and it might unlock something for someone else too. And if this journey of emotional clarity, quiet power, and deeper connection resonates with you, subscribe, not just to follow but to walk this path alongside others who are choosing presence over performance. Thank you not just for watching, but for truly listening. Until next time, keep turning inward, because the world doesn't need more men who try harder. It needs more men who feel deeper.